Hey everyone, welcome back to the Deep Dive from the Moore's Global Finance Podcast team. I'm John Gafala. Today, we're joined by Tiffany, our precious metals expert, to tackle a question that's probably on a lot of your minds. Is Bullion Exchanges the right place to buy or sell precious metals?
Hey, John, great to be here. And you're right, there's a certain allure to holding something tangible, like gold or silver especially, in times of economic uncertainty. But figuring out where to buy or sell those assets can feel overwhelming.
Exactly. And that's where this deep dive comes in. We've been digging into a comprehensive review of Bullion Exchanges to give you the insights you need. So first things first, Bullion Exchange has been around since 2012, starting out in New York City's Diamond District. That history suggests they've weathered some market storms, which is always a good sign. But what really sets them apart?
One of the first things that jumped out at me was their focus on transparency. You know, the precious metals market can be a bit of a Wild West, with a lot of less reputable players out there. But Bullion Exchanges seems committed to providing clear pricing, detailed product information, and open communication with customers. That's a big plus for building trust.
Okay, transparency is key. But let's be real, most of us are also looking for a smooth and easy process. What about the actual buying or selling experience?
Well, their website gets a lot of praise for being user-friendly. They offer a wide selection of gold, silver, platinum, and palladium products, catering to both individual investors and seasoned collectors.
So you're saying they've got something for everyone. That's helpful to know. But how do their prices stack up against the competition? That's always a concern when you're talking about investment.
That's where things get a bit tricky. While Bullion Exchanges emphasizes competitive pricing, the review highlights that comparing prices across different dealers can be challenging. They do offer free shipping on orders over $199 and a loyalty program for repeat customers, which can sweeten the deal. But you'll definitely want to do your homework and compare prices before making a large purchase.
Good advice. Now let's dive into the specifics. What kind of products are we talking about here?
Well, they've got everything from popular U.S. mint coins, like American Eagles and Buffaloes, to royal mint offerings like the Queen's Beasts series, and even a variety of bars for those who prefer to stack their wealth.
Ooh, those Queen's Beast coins sound pretty cool.
Oh.
But let's shift gears a bit and talk about gold IRAs. A lot of people are looking for ways to diversify their retirement portfolios, and precious metals often come up in those conversations. What's Bullion Exchange's approach to gold IRAs?
They actually seem to have a pretty comprehensive system in place. They guide you through the process of setting up a self-directed gold IRA, which gives you more control over your investments. And they partner with reputable custodians like Gold Star Trust Company and Equity Trust Company to ensure your assets are held securely.
That's reassuring to hear.
Yeah.
Setting up a gold IRA can feel intimidating, so having that guidance is valuable.
But before we get too deep into IRAs, can you back up for a second and explain what exactly a self-directed IRA is and why someone might choose that option?
Sure. With a traditional IRA, your investment options are typically limited to stocks, bonds, and mutual funds offered by your brokerage. A self-directed IRA, on the other hand, lets you invest in a wider range of assets, including precious metals. This gives you more flexibility and control over your retirement portfolio. You get to choose the specific assets you believe in, rather than relying solely on your brokerage's offerings. So it's like taking the reins of your retirement savings and making those decisions yourself. Interesting. But let's get back to Bullion Exchanges specifically. Do they handle everything when it comes to setting up a gold IRA?
They assist you with the process, but you'll still need to do your due diligence. For example, they partner with several custodians, and you'll need to choose the one that best meets your needs and fee structure. They also offer storage options in secure facilities in Delaware, Canada, and the Cayman Islands. Choosing the right storage location depends on factors like your risk tolerance and tax implications.
Wow. There's a lot more to consider with gold IRAs than I realized.
Yeah.
It sounds like Bullion Exchanges provides the resources and guidance, but you're ultimately in the driver's seat making those key decisions.
Exactly. And that's why it's crucial to understand the ins and outs of gold IRAs, the different types of custodians, and the pros and cons of various storage options. Bullion Exchanges offers resources to help you make those informed decisions. But you'll still need to invest the time to understand what's best for your situation. It's definitely not a set it and forget it type of investment. But speaking of options, Bullion Exchanges also offers a buyback program. So if you decide to sell your precious metals, you can go back to them.
That's convenient.
Yeah.
It eliminates the hassle of finding another buyer and potentially dealing with more unknowns. Is that buyback process as straightforward as their buying process?
From what I gathered in the review, they make it pretty simple. You can ship your metals back to them, or if you're in New York City, you can even visit their store in person. They handle the evaluation and payment. which can take some of the stress out of the selling process.
Okay, that's good to know. But I'm thinking about some of the potential downsides we've touched on, like the difficulty of comparing prices. What if someone buys from bullion exchanges and later finds out they could have gotten a better deal elsewhere? That's got to be frustrating.
You're right, that's always a risk, especially in a market as dynamic as precious metals. That's why I can't stress enough the importance of shopping around. And comparing prices before making any significant purchase, it might take a bit more effort up front, but it could save you money in the long run.
So it's all about being an informed buyer. Don't just assume that because bullion exchanges has a good reputation, their prices are automatically the best. Speaking of reputation, we've talked about the positive side of their reviews, but the review also mentioned some mixed feedback. What were some of the recurring concerns from customers?
One recurring theme was the occasional difficulty in contacting customer service. Some customers reported delays in getting responses to their inquiries, or having trouble getting through on the phone. That can be a red flag, especially if you need quick assistance with a time-sensitive issue.
I can imagine that would be frustrating. Waiting around for a response when you're dealing with something as valuable as precious metals is not ideal. Did the review mention anything about how Bullion Exchanges is addressing these customer service concerns?
There wasn't specific information about how they're tackling those issues, but it's definitely something potential customers should be aware of. It might be worth checking recent customer reviews to see if those concerns are still prevalent, or if there have been any improvements.
All right, so we've covered a lot of ground: their history, their commitment to transparency, the variety of products, the ins and outs of gold IRAs, their buyback program, and even some of the potential downsides. What are your overall thoughts on bullion exchanges as a potential partner for someone looking to invest in precious metals?
They're certainly a reputable player in the market. Their focus on transparency, the wide product selection, and the resources they provide for setting up gold IRAs are definite strengths. However, the potential for customer service hiccups and the difficulty of comparing prices are drawbacks to consider. It really comes down to your individual needs and risk tolerance.
I hear you. It's not a black and white answer. There are pros and cons to weigh. What advice would you give to someone who's on the fence about whether or not to use bullion exchanges?
I'd say start by defining your investment goals. Are you looking for a short-term play or a long-term hold? What level of risk are you comfortable with? Once you have a clearer picture of your investment strategy, you can evaluate bullion exchanges more effectively.
Good point. It all comes back to having a solid investment plan. But even with a plan, you still need to make sure you're comfortable with the company you're working with. What are some key things to look for when evaluating a precious metals dealer?
Definitely look for signs of transparency. Are they upfront about their pricing, fees, and policies? Do they have a clear and easy to understand website? And of course, check their reputation. What are other customers saying about their experiences?
So transparency, reputation, and a user-friendly experience are all important factors. But what about the products themselves? What should someone keep in mind when choosing specific precious metals to invest in?
That depends on your investment goals and personal preferences. Gold is often seen as a safe haven asset, while silver tends to be more volatile but can offer higher returns. Platinum and palladium are industrial metals with their own unique market dynamics. Do your research on each metal and understand the risks and potential rewards before making a decision.
All right, so let's recap. We've talked about the importance of defining your investment goals, evaluating a dealer's transparency and reputation, and understanding the nuances of different precious metals. But I'm wondering what other resources are available to help someone navigate the world of precious metals investing.
There are a ton of resources out there, reputable financial websites, books on precious metals investing, and even podcasts like ours can provide valuable insights.
That's right. Don't be afraid to tap into those resources and learn as much as you can before making any investment decisions. So as we wrap up this deep dive into bullion exchanges, I'm curious, what's one key takeaway you'd like our listeners to remember?
I'd say the biggest takeaway is the importance of being an informed investor. Don't just jump into precious metals because you hear it's a safe haven or a hedge against inflation. Do your research, understand the risks and potential rewards, and make sure you're comfortable with the dealer you choose.
I completely agree. It's your money, your future, and you deserve to feel confident in your investment choices. But beyond the purely financial aspects, I'm wondering if you have any final thoughts or reflections. On the allure of precious metals, what is it about these tangible assets that captivates people?
It's interesting, isn't it? Precious metals have held value for centuries, across different cultures and civilizations. There's a certain sense of history and permanence associated with them. In a world that feels increasingly digital and intangible, holding a gold coin or a silver bar can feel grounding, like a connection to something real and enduring.
I think you've hit on something there. It's not just about the potential for profit. It's also about the emotional connection, the sense of security that comes with holding something tangible. It's almost like a piece of history you can hold in your hand.
Exactly. And that emotional aspect can be a powerful motivator for investors. It's important to acknowledge those feelings and understand how they influence your investment decisions.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into bullion exchanges and the world of precious metals, I'd like to leave our listeners with a final thought. If you're considering adding precious metals to your portfolio, take the time to explore not only the financial aspects, but also your personal motivations. What draws you to these assets? What role do they play in your overall investment strategy? And your vision for the future? Once you've explored those questions, you'll be in a much better position to make informed and empowered decisions.
Well said, John. And remember, the journey of investing is a continuous one. Stay curious, stay informed, and never stop learning.
Thanks for joining us on the deep dive from the Moore's Global Finance podcast team. We encourage you to continue exploring precious metals as an investment option and to check out other valuable resources from Moore's Global Finance. Until next time, happy investing.